On today's show, I'll announce what you can win for free just by listening. Plus, we'll reveal where I'll be popping my comedic cherry this Friday in D.C.
And Auntie Lynn and Uncle Joe, you better turn off your podcast now because we've got Annie motherfucking Cruz in the house and it's about to get wild. It's all here on Lucdogg in the Morning. Start the show, Luch!
Lou, you're my boy!
And now,
That's all you want. I'm the one who's gonna be on TV.
from TTR Studios,
I can't quite remember how that one goes. I gotta admit, I'm a little high. No, Biggie, I'm cool.
it's Lucdogg in the Morning.
This is Annie fucking Cruz from Sirius XM 415, and you're listening to Lucdogg in the Morning.
Welcome back, folks. It is Lucdogg in the Morning, and we are so happy to be here with you. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday. Let's go! Let's do this thing. Thank you guys for being here. We're almost through the week. It's halfway through. We've got a treat for you. Of course, I'm joined by Matty Potts from the Santa Monica Newsroom. What's up, dude?
Salutations.
We've got Annie motherfucking Cruz in the house. What's up, girl?
Hi.
We are so ready, and thank you for being here. We appreciate your time. She is a cosplay specialist. She is a gamer. Of course, she's a actress, and we are going to ask her all kinds of stuff as she guest co-hosts on today's show. So really, thanks, Annie, for being here. We appreciate you making the time.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
You do a show on Sirius XM, Annie, called The Dirtiest Girl in the World. It's every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 o'clock on the West Coast. How long have you been doing that show?
I've been doing that for, almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in a few months.
I wonder if, how do you keep it fresh? And I know maybe your boss is listening right now, so I'm not trying to get you in trouble. But after 5 years of doing anything, is it hard? Do you ever find it hard to get up and just? I mean, you're only once a week. I guess that's not the same as every day for 4 hours. But how do you handle that?
I actually used to do it 3 times a week.
Oh, for real? Oh, there you go.
I used to do it 3 days a week, and then they had re-signed their contract with Sirius XM, and they ended up cutting a shit ton of shows that were on the network. And so what do you call it?
When you say they, Annie, when you say they, who's they? Who do you do the show for?
Oh, Vivid. Sorry.
Oh,
Vivid
gotcha.
Entertainment has a radio station on Sirius XM. And over the years, we've changed so many different channels, and they just recently re-signed their contract, and we ended up changing channels again, and they had to cut a lot of the shows that weren't just weren't cutting it, I guess you could say. And so because I was the only one that was doing it 3 days a week, they're like, unfortunately, since we're cutting a lot of shows, it's not fair if you have your show 3 days a week.
Right.
But back then, it was a lot tougher because it was to keep things fresh, I guess.
Yeah, come on, girl. Let it out early.
Especially when I'm single, there's a lot of topics to pull from that. And so that's kind of what kept my show alive, I guess you could say, when I was doing it multiple times a week, because there was always something interesting that happened. And a lot of the stuff that does happen to me and people that do listen to my show, they're how only this would happen to you. A lot of the stuff that I talk about, it's I can't make this shit up. So I guess that's really what it was, is when I like to call them tram pages. I go through them occasionally.
Tramp pages. Okay.
Yeah. When I go through a phase of being single, I like to call it going through a tram page rather. And I meet a lot of interesting people. I experience a lot of interesting scenarios. And that's pretty much the kind of stuff that I would talk about on my show. Which kind of goes hand in hand with the title, The Dirtiest Girl in the World.
No, I appreciate that, because I'm actually telling stand-up this Friday in D.C. We will reveal where I'll be doing that for the first time ever, so you can come out and laugh at me, or with me, whatever. But I was debating whether or not to tell a story about dating, of course. I know, Potts, do you know she's a dating coach? Did you hear this?
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions. Is I believe you did it in Vegas. You were a dating coach in Vegas.
I did it for a few years in Hollywood and in Vegas. I kind of like alternated between the two cities when I was doing it. For the one, I was working for two different companies, or excuse me, three different companies. None of them remembering. And then I ended up leaving the last company that I had worked for, and then just recently, because this was like 2 years ago that I left.
Wait, is this a legit job? Like, are you getting paid for this?
You could take me to a bar and get me a girl.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Like I'm the best wing girl, and a lot of people trash on female. First of all, there's not very many female dating coaches that coach men specifically. Like I know there's a lot of.
Wait a minute. Time out. I have to know. Are you going on the date? Are you wingmanning with me to help me find a girl, or am I finding a girl and you're coaching me up on how to impress her? Or both?
A little column A, a little column B. It depends on if the guys that I coached,
That's awesome.
It really depended on what they were interested in looking for, what kind of coaching they needed. Because a lot of the guys, did you know the 40-year-old virgin does exist? They exist.
Yeah, his name's Lucdogg.
Yeah, you're looking at him right there.
I was trying to say, Annie, I need you.
No, if she can get you laid, that would be the best sales marketing ever.
Absolutely.
Put it this, I had this guy who flew in from London who lost his virginity when he was 30. He was 35 when I coached him. He lost his virginity at the age of 30, so it had been 5 years since the last time he had sex, because that was the last time he had sex.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Clyde.
And so, he was very hard on himself because he was Asian. And so one of the things that he kept for like 2 days straight, he kept talking about how like, I'm not 6'2" and I'm not white. So that's the reason why girls don't like me. And I had to explain to him for 2 days, how that wasn't the case, to just kind of get him out of that headspace. And then finally, when he finally got over it and was like, okay, I'm ready to learn, teach me, Obi-Wan, like, let's do this. I got him laid within 2 weeks.
Wow, you're like,
so, I mean, what kind of training do you need to become a dating coach? How does that happen? Is that a job you just stumble on, or I mean, really?
No, I learned with some of the biggest names in the dating coach scene, I guess you could say. I did a couple of lectures. I think part of my expertise when I was working for those companies was mostly in sex, because I've done lectures at sexual health expos and colleges, even talking about pro-sex positivity.
Didn't we see you had a lecture on deviant behavior we wanted to get into a little bit, how to prep for that? We'll ask you that later. But
I actually did a talk. This was like 7 years ago or something. I did a lecture in a sociology class at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where I discussed the topic for the semester was deviant lifestyles. And so I came in, I talked about my time working in adult entertainment for the time that I was in it, and talked about trying to get past all the stereotypes, if you will. And it was great because I had it was like a 90-minute lecture that I had done. I had prepared it completely. I love public speaking. So this was probably one of my most proud moments of me doing something like that. I had a lot of 19-year-old girls in the class, like freshmen, sophomores or whatever, that actually approached me after I was done with the lecture saying, you know what, when they told us that you were coming in to speak, all I kept thinking was, oh, they're going to have some whore come here to talk to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
But after I spoke to them, on a more intellectual level, they were like, I actually respect you more now from everything that you've taught us. So when I initially started working for these dating coaching companies, I kind of was like more like the sexpert, if you will.
Sure.
And then the more I learned, the more I trained with these coaches, the more I learned, and I actually read books and studied a lot of stuff on my own. And then that's kind of like how I got to the point where I was able to coach. And plus, what also kind of helps too, because like I was getting ready to say earlier, a lot of people, they kind of laugh or make fun of the fact that, there are a few female dating coaches that work specifically with coaching men. Because there are women that coach women, right?
No, I think I would prefer that. I would want a woman. I wouldn't want to hear it from a man.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. The people that would make fun of it was like, oh, what does a woman know about picking up women? But here's the thing. I have experience in dating, having living relationships, and having sex with women. So, of course, I know what women like. And, yeah. So that kind of like worked in my favor when I was coaching this man. And a lot of the guys that I've worked with since I've left those companies, they're like, I really liked working with you, so I want to continue it. So just recently I decided, you know what, I think I might just do this myself, but I want to expand and not just coach men, also coach women, because I feel like there's a lot of women out there that need dating help as well. And I have a lot of girlfriends that I've done sex education with that like asked. I have one girlfriend specifically who was in a relationship for 7 years, and that was like the only guy she had been with. And she's like in her 30s now, and she was like very sexually inexperienced. And so she comes to me for advice. And whenever I do give her advice, she's like, you know how many women would pay for this kind of advice? Like, you should branch out and not just coach men, but also coach women. So I only recently started kind of deciding to do that. But well,
it's good you did. I see a lot of women thankful. Like, I saw a friend of mine, girl, Potts, she literally posted how thankful she was for an article that teaches women how to masturbate. Not to go down a road, but that's like, I was like, well, don't you know by now? You're like 35.
You'd be surprised at how many women don't masturbate or know how to. I actually met a girl who works in adult entertainment that was like, I'd rather have sex. I don't masturbate. Like, I don't even know how to do that. And I'm like, how do you not know how to masturbate? And you do this for a living? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's really mind-boggling. Like, the people that I have met throughout my life that women specifically that don't do certain, I mean, there's also guys that don't do certain things, but that specifically, like, it's very interesting that there's a lot of things that women don't know. And also, like with my radio show, for example, one of my favorite parts of having done it for so long is that I would get female callers calling in and because if you listen to my radio show, if anybody's listening to this now that is familiar with my show, I am very, very open. Like, there's nothing that I won't talk about.
I think we can tell.
And a lot of women will call in and thank me, like, you know, I just want to thank you for your show because it makes me feel like I shouldn't feel ashamed of my sexuality. And I feel like no one should feel ashamed of your sexuality. So I feel like I'm doing a service in a way with my show because of that.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of more women are feeling like I can be sexually free. I shouldn't be ashamed to like sex. It doesn't make me a slut, et cetera, and so forth.
But go ahead, Potts.
Yeah, no. So I was going to say, I imagine you like come into like recurring themes as you're doing a dating coach. So we have here with Luch the typical the guy is just too nice. He's just too nice. And
that's me?
Gets into the friend zone. Oh yeah, no. Not only does he get into the friend zone, but he'll have a girlfriend that he's sleeping with, they'll break up, and then he'll get into the post-ex friend zone, which
I'm
is
currently
like a reverse friend zone I've never even seen. So what would you tell, what's the main piece of advice you could give to a guy that's just, I mean, look, he's a nice guy, he's not going to cheat on you, he owns his own business, but is having
nothing but free time. Nothing but free time. I can get the kids ready in the morning, I can pack them up, take them to school, come home, I'm good.
You know what the number one rule is for trying to like not be friend zoned is when you're with a woman, and this actually applies to women as well, because it's funny because a lot of the stuff that I taught as a dating coach, I actually kind of apply it to my own personal life. So for instance, one of the main things that we teach is physical touch. Right. And it could be something. And when I say physical touch, I don't mean like sexualizing.
No, it's called Kino,
and groping.
From creepy guys.
It's literally and it's very subtle. It's like a subconscious thing that like makes women or men realize, oh, this person likes me. Right. It could be as simple. So yeah, it could be as simple as a high five. It could be as simple as like touching someone's shoulder. Like, for instance, I was out with an ex of mine, and we were at this bar, and I see this couple sitting at the bar, but her body language was kind of like, his body language was facing towards the bar while she was turned in facing him. He wasn't touching her at all.
Right.
And I'm just kind of observing, and I'm like, are they on a date or are they just friends? Because he wasn't touching her at all, and she was facing him, so clearly she's interested in him, right? And he's just like, obviously maybe it was a first date. Okay, this is what was funny. We were trying to figure the whole situation out, and I kept saying, I bet you it's a first date. Maybe they met on Tinder or something. I bet you this is a first date situation because look at the body language. Like he looks like he could be nervous, whatever. So he's just sitting there facing the bar. She's sitting inwards. And I'm like, he's bombing. Like, 'cause she's not going to go home with him after this. You know what I mean? So then they end up leaving and we go to the bar and the bartender is like, dude, they were totally on a first date. And I'm like, I knew it. So where the guy failed is that he should have been facing inward, first of all. And he should have been like lightly touching her, you know, if she said something funny or like teasing her, pushing her a little bit, you know what I mean? Because it's that simple idea of physical contact that makes that other person realize, okay, this person likes me.
But I wait, I hear you, but I wait for the girl to touch first. The second the girl does this or like, ha ha ha, like I know it's game on, but I do wait to break like the personal barrier.
No, of course. Well, that's where high fives come in. You know what I mean? Like when if you just met the person, for example, and you're somewhere and you're like, hey, party time, high five. That's initiating some kind of contact where it's not necessarily intimate, I guess you could say.
Annie, have you read the book? Have you read the book called The Game by
Yes, I have,
right?
by Neil Strauss. Yes, I have.
And we're talking about we're talking about Kino. It's called Kino. You want to have
that's exact. If you want to get more on technical terms, yes, it's called Kino in that world.
But I can't Kino with you first. Potts is completely right. Otherwise, I feel like George Costanza asking you if this is cashmere or not, and then I'm a creep.
But here's the thing. This is why it could be even like if like let's say you're standing somewhere and you're leading the girl somewhere. If you put your hand on the small of her back to lead her, that's initiating touch as well. Because there's so many different levels of physical touch, Kino, if you will. You know what I mean? Like you get like some people like to be more direct, right? There's people that are like indirect, and there's people that are more direct. And people that are more direct are a little bit more ballsy, like, oh, I don't care, I'll touch your ass, I'll do this, I'll do that. And then there are other people that are a little bit more subtle. But here's the thing, I like to tell women to do just the same because I apply it like when I'm on a date with someone, and this is what's interesting, people that are aware, right, of what's going on know. Because I remembered going on this, I met this guy off of Tinder, this was like last year, and he was good looking, whatever, but it wasn't enough to kind of like hold my attention. So we're sitting there at the bar and I purposely wasn't touching him because I was like, I don't want this guy to think that I'm going to like go home with him. You know what I mean? So I'm like, just like the guy in the other story that I shared, I was facing the bar and I'm just like, yeah, okay. You know, I'm like, okay, this dude's hot, but I'm like, oh, I just can't. I can't.
Not feeling it.
I got to jump in because I feel like you've told this story on your podcast and you did end up fucking the guy though,
I
right?
did.
Annie, no!
Well, because he called me out.
This is a horrible story.
No, he called me out because he was like, you know what, I'm not getting, he specifically told me, because we started talking about something and then like the conversation kind of turned sexual. And he was like, I'm not getting a sexual vibe from you at all. And I'm like,
wow, good on him.
What?
He turned the tables on you.
Know who I am?
Oh, that's awesome.
So he calls me out and I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, because you haven't, and he says to me, you haven't touched me once. And I'm like, wow, did this guy read the game or something? Like, what the hell is going on?
He's totally, Annie, he's totally negging you.
Dude, I know every trick in the book. That's why a lot of people, you know, when they like try to say that they picked me up, I'm like, no, I picked you up.
No.
Other way, yeah.
All right, well, let me do this. Let's do this because we're coming up on a break. I want to tease that break. We'll get into the story of how this guy got you back at home. I did find this, though, for your pleasure.
It's a blacked out blur, but I'm pretty.
Oh, what is this garbage? No, here you go.
What do you think you're doing?
Nothing. What?
Farkas, get out here.
Oh, yes, Mr. Gronmont?
Farkas, who is this perverted little weasel?
This is Costanza. He's our new bra salesman. He's supposed to start on Monday.
I just love it. Seinfeld's my favorite. Annie Cruz in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to her. She'll be back for segment 2 and 3. We'll get into her dating story and a little bit of news from the Santa Monica newsroom coming up next. Don't forget, you can always catch her weekly radio show, Sirius XM. It's called The Dirtiest Girl in the World every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, the podcast Maddie Potts was talking about, And Now We Drink, is every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon on the West Coast. We will be right back after this. It is Lucdogg in the Morning at LITM Podcast. Welcome back, folks. It is Lucdogg in the morning. And man, are we ready to roll. Segment 2. We're going to push the news back a little bit because we're having too much fun with Annie Cruz. She does some cosplay. She is a gamer. We'll get into that a little bit. You can find her on Instagram at Annie Cruz, Twitter at Annie fucking Cruz. Goddamn right. And of course, her Sirius XM show, Dirtiest Girl in the World, every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Now, she's also a dating coach, so we got into talking about, of course, how we always end up into my dating life, but we're going to get to her, of course. I'm telling stand-up comedy at the Chinese Disco in D.C. this Friday at 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9:30, and I was debating Annie Cruz as we bring in our West Coast studio. Annie, I was debating telling the story of when I was... I don't know. I found some girl online. She was like, "Hey, my parents are out of town." And I was like, "Cool." So I just drove out there. It was about an hour and 20 minutes out into the mountains. So
Did you get
go ahead.
Did you get catfished?
Oh no, but I have been. Thank you. She asked me. The girl separate story. The girl from Africa asked me to send her money for menstruation pads. That happened after 3 days of texting. So, I went out. I drove an hour and a half to the mountains, lost cell service, and my phone also died as I got out there. I got to the door. There were 6 dogs barking at the door. She gets to the door. She is the grossest looking woman I have ever seen. She literally has not showered in what looks like 4 days. I get in there and I'm like, how am I going to get out of this? What do? I just drove an hour and a half. I got low standards, man. I'm like, everybody's cool, but I can't do this. So she says, "Hey, would you like a drink?" I said, "Oh, let me grab a water." Because I'm thinking, I got to get the hell out of here. She's like, "Yeah, sure.
Drive home in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not trying to stay here." So I said, "Okay, I'll make it a water." And then she says, "You want to go downstairs where I chill? It's like this, it's where I hang out." And I'm like, jackpot. So Annie, this is my move, and I want to know, am I an asshole or did I do this right? We went downstairs. We sat down for what maybe was 30 seconds. I don't have a clue what we talked about. As soon as she got seated and I sat down, I went, "Oh, you know what? I left my water upstairs," which I did on purpose. Walked right upstairs, asked her if she wanted anything. "You need anything? Want me to grab you anything?" And as soon as I got to the top of the stairs, it was either take a right and go get the water and her beer, or take a left and get the fuck out of there. And that's exactly what I did. I bolted for the door, ran to my car, jingling my keys. I dropped my keys. I'm fumbling for them, and I peeled out of that place. Dude, I got so many text messages from her that I didn't even look at. I don't know. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
You know what we call that?
What's that?
Getting fuckboy roid.
What is that?
I didn't think you had that in you, Luch. That I give you points for that. I can't believe you would pull that off.
I pulled it off like a champ.
I mean, I figured you'd be the kind of guy that would sit there all night and even sleep with her just because you felt so guilty that you didn't want to leave and leave her stranded.
Oh, God. It was in my younger days, folks. This was years ago. But yeah, I was debating telling that. And then all of a sudden, here you are as a life coach, Annie. So I just, not life coach, a dating coach, which that's fascinating to me. I mean,
and so one thing I found interesting talking about the dating coach thing, going back to that, I was in nightclubs for 15 years, as you guys know, and Annie is in nightclubs as well right now here in LA. I noticed a lot of the tips you were giving are the same tips that we give the girls for bottle service when they're selling. You always touch the small of the back to bring them in closer. You open the menu right below your boobs, all these kind of subtle hints to sell bottles, which I'm sure you've heard all of these tips before. But it's the same thing about not necessarily being intimate, but opening yourself up and then gaining the customer's trust, so then you can sell them, a $10,000 bottle that costs $50 in the store.
Potts, is it anything like this?
Hi guys, my name's Portia.
Hey, this is Stan.
Oh hey cutie, how are you? I love your hat. I used to have a hat just like that, except it was black and it didn't have a puffball on it. Oh my god, my hands are so cold.
Remember the Raisins episode? I love it, man. I love that so much because you're right. That's why the Hooters girls, they sit down at your booth to take your order.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how they're trained. They're trained to sit down, and so you're at the level. Yeah.
Welcome to Raisins.
Well, it's very interesting because, it's like anywhere you have to kind of, I guess the proper word would be gaming people, right? Like,
Sure.
there's like a whole finesse to kind of doing things. Like in bottle service, you have to like work your customers, right? Oh, you want another bottle? Let's do shots and all these different things. And then even with the dating coaching stuff, I teach men how to pick up those girls. Right. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting.
Good point.
Yeah. And that's what we call hired gun game, because it's like, the reason why cocktail waitresses or bartenders or strippers even are like they're the most difficult kind of girls to pick up because they're trying to work you for that money, right? I want that tip. Yeah. I'm a cocktail waitress. I have to like work for those tips, so I have to like kind of smile and act a certain way to get those guys to move. So a lot of those guys, they don't know if the cocktail waitress or the stripper or the bartender is just being nice because they're trying to get that tip. So they have to kind of figure out a way to like pick them up, looking past that whole thing. And that's
so tell us, Annie, how do we do it? How do we get into the heads of those that are already blocking us off?
I feel like we're just trying to get like free information.
Yeah.
At this
How do I
point.
get laid, Annie? Damn it.
She's gonna charge me after this.
I want to go back. I want to go back on this whole driving for an hour and a half, though.
Yeah. Sure.
Focus on you.
Because I have a rule, and that's I don't travel for dick or pussy, at all.
That's fine. Wait a minute. How what's the furthest drive that you've gone to get some? Come on. Maddie Potts flew to Sweden.
Oh, an hour. An hour.
An hour?
Wait, you flew to Sweden?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell
okay,
it.
wait. I guess I did fly. No, wait. I flew him out. Wait, I'm trying to remember this shit. Because I remembered. No,
JetBlue.
yeah, I did fly him out. I remember flying. I went to Jamaica and I flew this dude that I met on MySpace.
MySpace?
I met a guy on MySpace. I talked to. This is years ago, obviously. I spoke to him on the phone for like 3 months, and then I flew him to Jamaica, and then we dated for 5 years. So I guess that was fine.
Oh,
but
wow.
As far as like me traveling, I think I want to say like an hour. Yeah,
okay, well then let me ask you this.
It was totally worth it though.
Let me ask you this. Okay, you're not going to drive for it, but have you ever met somebody on Tinder or one of these and they look nothing like what they're supposed to? I mean, I literally walked past the girl I was supposed to meet because she was about 60 pounds heavier than any of her pictures, and she looks up
these
from
pictures from 10 years ago.
Well, no, I mean, seriously, Annie, she looks up from the booth and she goes, "Adam?" And I look down and I'm like, who is this? Now, we had a great time. We had a blast because I'm not a dick and I'll have fun with anybody, but I felt lied to there, just like I felt lied to in the mountains.
You know what? Can I say something? Same thing happened to a girl that I know. She likes, you know how with technology today, you have phone apps where you can like alter your photos. A lot of girls will be like, let me make my waist a little thinner and, make my face a little bit more smoother.
Those Snapchat filters are the biggest like scam ever. They make every girl look hot.
They're like, oh my, you look so flawless. Well, in this case, this woman, she is a lot heavier and she likes to overly Photoshop her photos to where it makes her waist look a lot and her thigh, like everything.
What's the point of that? Are we never going to meet?
And well, here's the thing. She used these photos on her Tinder profile, and literally she goes to meet this guy goes to meet her rather, and he's in his car. She's on the sidewalk. He literally does this maneuver. He pulls up and then drives away. And she was like, I don't understand. I think she was in denial. I'm pretty fucking sure she was in denial because she was like, I don't know why he did that. I'm like, girl, your photos don't look like you. That's why. I mean, you're no.
So you broke it like you were honest with her. You're like, look, girl, that's why.
Absolutely. My girlfriend was like, dude, why do you think? And I'm like, yeah. Like she said it first, but yes,
Potts.
But,
Potts, do you realize that Annie looks like she's got a life hack on those Snapchat filters? She's done it with her hair. She's got like the little cat ears going on in real life.
Yeah, the little like Princess Leia bun things.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hot. I like that.
It's actually very cosplay, I think.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And
not to get too much into the dating. I've done so much of the first dates, and they're like, I was
I was just gonna say one more thing about that because you did ask me a question I didn't answer. So, like, I've met a lot of people on like Tinder, Bumble. Bumble was kind of my jam. Like, I met a lot of people off of Tinder, but Bumble was like, I felt like there was a lot of prettier people on Bumble.
It's absolutely true.
But it was very rare for me to meet up with someone that didn't look like their picture. Now, with women would try to scam me. They were like, "Oh yeah, you know, whatever," and then I would like get their phone number, and then we would chat back and forth, and then it would turn into, "Oh, so my boyfriend." I'm like,
what?
And then they would show me their. I'm like, I don't want to fuck your man. I'll fuck you, but not your man. Like, you know what I mean? So.
Whoa. So are you saying that there were bait and switch on Bumble, like for their? Wow.
Oh yeah.
What's the point of that? I don't understand why you would do that.
Yeah, because they're you know, like they're trying to find a third, you know, for their man, and then like
no, we already
hot. They would be smoking hot, and I'm like, wow, this girl's hot, and she's talking to me, okay. And then next thing I know, she's like, well, we'll chat back and forth. Well, like, you know, like, give me your number, so we'll chat back and forth, and then and then she'd send me a picture of her and some like ugly dude, and I'm like, who's the ugly dude in this photo? Oh, that's your boyfriend,
right?
So I kind of just stopped. I'd rather just meet girls in bars, which is, you know, has worked, you know, very well for me. But with guys, I've never really had a guy like I remember meeting a couple of dudes where their hair looked different. That was about it, but not like a tremendous like difference. You know what I mean? To where I'm like, you look nothing like your photo. And also back to the whole traveling for, you know, people and stuff like that. I am very notorious for shitting where I eat, and I would set my distance to like, you know, maximum 2 miles.
Oh wow! So
now I can't go anywhere in Hollywood without running into someone that I've hooked up with, and I'm kind of also notorious for being a one and done type of girl where I don't really meet up with anybody else a second time. And like I moved 6 months ago, and I ran into a guy that I only hooked up with one time at my old place, and he lives in my building now, and I'm like,
no!
What are you doing here? And he's like, I live here. What are you doing here? I'm like, I live here.
That's unreal. That's unreal. I know. There's just so much that you can do in dating. I'm gonna save our theme question for the third segment. I gotta get to some news because there's current events that we want to get her thoughts on.
I mean, yeah, we might even have to have her back at some. I've got a list I have barely even touched.
Well, we can save that for Ask Annie at the end too, because we're gonna do lightning round. But we would love to have her back.
Okay.
So let's do. Are you ready for news?
Yeah. I can.
All right, let's do this.
This just in from the Santa Monica newsroom. It's Maddie Potts.
That's right. This is Maddie Potts reporting live from the Santa Monica newsroom, Apartment A. In today's news, a jackpot winner dies after gold plating his balls. Growing up in poverty as a child, Justin Ritter became obsessed with the 2002 movie comedy Goldmember, an Austin Powers parody of the Bond movie Goldfinger, in which Powers is hunting a criminal mastermind who colors his victim man's parts in gold. Now working at Walmart, the closest this effed up and overworked employee came to his dream was stocking chicken nuggets in the frozen aisle. Ritter's lucky golden streak began during a break from his night shift. While watching videos on his phone, he saw an advertisement for a casino app offering $80 in free spins. No one will ever turn down anything free. Dustin decided to test the odds with his popular new game slots. By the end of his 30-minute lunch break, the unaffected young man hit the jackpot of $528,000. Suddenly, he had a much brighter outlook on life. Dustin immediately quit his job, headed straight to the jeweler's, blinging up himself with ring and chains. But even after getting his teeth capped in gold, he didn't feel complete, so he got his balls dipped in wax.
What a dick.
It led to a bunch of health complications, and he eventually died.
Oh my God!
Wow. People do the darndest things.
I feel so insensitive laughing at that after calling him a dick before finding out that he died. Oh, that's insane. God. I mean, I don't want him to die. Obviously, that's terrible. But, dude, come on, man.
The picture of the guy is pretty great, too. He looks like a total white trash redneck. So,
Jesus. Moving on.
I thought it was funny. Moving on. The final day of the EDC Electric Daisy Carnival drew to a close on Sunday. The weekend welcomed more than 400,000 people under the electric sky throughout the 3-day festival at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Sunday marked the last night of the annual Massive, which featured 8 large stages, numerous other musicians, and this was the 21st annual event. They've been doing this for 21 years.
Wow.
I actually went to the first year. It was in Vegas, and I rolled my balls off in the marquee sky deck and basically passed out on a couch in the middle of 400,000 people.
Way to finish strong, man. I think we've all had that. Let's stop there real quick. Annie, worst pass out story. Come on.
Oh my God. Wait, hold on. I feel like
Remember that time you blacked out and didn't remember?
Yeah, right.
There's so many. Okay, well, there was one. I wouldn't say this is the worst, but I remember waking up face first with my pants to my ankles on my couch, and I woke up, and when I stood up, I was like, what the fuck happened to my pussy? And I had pierced it when I was like really wasted. Which really kind of pissed me off because I was like, why didn't I pick a spot that's like more painful to get pierced? Because it's not really that painful to get your outer labia done. So, but like I had the right side done before and I ended up getting the left side done. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I'm so hungover. And then I was like, why is my pants to my ankles? Why do I have metal down there? Okay. So that wouldn't be the worst, but that was the most entertaining.
No,
Sure.
that one wins. That one wins.
And as someone, I used to have a Prince Albert. It was surprisingly painless out of all the piercings that I'd had over my life.
Wait.
Hurt by far the worst.
Time out. You had a Prince Albert?
Yeah, I did. It was, I guess, during my college years before I had dropped out.
For those who don't know, is that...
And I would get drunk at parties and like run around and pull my dick out and show people. It was like a party favor. It was pretty great. And actually, speaking of waking up drunk, we had strippers when I lived with my dad one night. We're celebrating a birthday, and I woke up with a $5 bill wrapped up in the hoop of my Prince Albert. So that's probably one of my crazy stories.
Oh, God, I'm uncomfortable. Wow. If anybody's driving right now, please be careful. I know that's going to make you want to crash into the road or into the barrier or something. I just, God, it makes me queasy. Mine, I guess. I mean, I can't even compare to that. I just get, I get hammered in college and I pass the hell out. And then all of a sudden, I guess my 21st birthday was good. My friend had to carry me home and I actually played, I used to play open mic there. So they were like, oh, it's his birthday? Bring him up to the stage. And it was one of those sloppy, can't remember any words to the songs that I wrote. Just get this guy out of here. But I didn't wake up with any piercings.
Singing, I feel like, are you a singer? Or like you've kind of sang a little bit and you are a good singer. Like, have you had professional training? Or?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I got it from my dad. My dad sings really, really well. And, I'm Filipino, so karaoke is like a thing. Yep. And I used to do like, you wouldn't think this, but like growing up, I was very, very, very shy. I was very nerdy. I was bullied. I always kept to myself, very quiet. And my parents convinced me to do the talent show when I was in high school. So I ended up doing that, and then everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I started. Ever since that talent show, I started singing the national anthem at like the football games and stuff like that. And so, yeah, like I kind of just continued doing it. And so now I just kind of have a ball going to karaoke with my friends. And I guess I do that on my podcast a little bit, don't I?
What's your go-to karaoke song? If you had to pick one song that's your best song, what's your best song?
Oh man, that's a tough one because I sing a lot of like dumb shit so like we all have our fun songs that we like to sing when you do karaoke. Oh, let's bust out with some Journey or some fucking Bon Jovi or some.
Mine is Shoot by Salt and Pepper.
Oh, there you go. Or and stuff like that, or like or like Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera and stuff like that. Sometimes when you're having a good time, you want to like bust out a song where everybody just gets quiet and stuff. And so mine would have to be anything between like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
That's when like we're having a fun time singing stupid shit, and then all of a sudden, okay, let's get serious for a minute. And then have some chops for that. And then everybody's just like, "What the hell?" Okay, yeah. So. And
on a side note, speaking of like those good singers, going back to a little bit of news, Matthew Knowles, the father of Queen Bee, aka Beyonce, announced on Twitter that they had their twins, the twins of her eyes, Jay-Z and Bey, are parents once again. Do you think like the old man stole her thunder by announcing it on Twitter before Jay-Z and Beyonce? Like, isn't that for them to do?
Oh wait, her dad.
Her dad.
Oh,
isn't that a party foul?
That is a party foul, because remember what happened with Angelina Jolie and her dad? Her dad made some kind of announcement, and then she was just like, I'm never speaking to you again. Right. Yeah, that definitely, that is a foul, for sure.
Well, hopefully we can get her to do a little karaoke with us later today on the show. We might ask her. We'll see what happens. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll finish up news. We'll get into Ask Annie, and we'll send you on your Wednesday with a big smile on your face. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll be back in just a second. It is Lucdogg in the morning at LITM Podcast. Welcome back, folks. It is Lucdogg in the morning, June 21st, and we are blessed to be here with guest co-host Annie Potts. Just kidding, Annie Cruz over there with Maddie Potts. She's got her weekly radio show on Sirius XM called The Dirtiest Girl in the World. It's every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. on the West Coast. You can also catch her podcast, And Now We Drink, where they will get hammered and tell amazing stories every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon on the West Coast. You can, of course, hit her up on Twitter, Annie fucking Cruz, with no G in the curse word, and Instagram at Annie Cruz. Nice and clean. So we'll do this. I got to get to them in a second. I want to, of course, let you guys know I will be telling stand-up for the first time in D.C., in the Chinese disco is what it's called. It's not a Chinese disco. It's a play on that. It's a joke, kind of. And they do stand up. I'll be there Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. So hopefully you guys can get out there and have some fun with me. Other than that, today's winning word for our giveaway prize, which will be a Gear VR headset. All you have to do is call our call-in number, 571-354-7338. Leave us a voicemail with the winning word, which is today, Annie. That's all you have to do. It's literally all you have to do. Call 571-354-7338. Say the word Annie, and you will be in the running for the Gear VR that will be given away at the end of the month. It's that easy, folks. Let's bring in the West Coast studio. Maddie Potts, how are you, sir?
I'm good. We, in all full disclosure, we just took a shot on the break, so I'm a little bit loose, but feeling good.
Fair enough. Annie Cruz, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. We appreciate your time.
Thanks again for having me. You guys are rad.
This is going to be awesome. We appreciate you. And I have to do this. I have we're going to get to Ask Annie, which she's going to pretty much, it's just going to be a lightning round. She's going to have to give us yes or no's. But I have to, can we just close the book on the story from segment 1? How did that guy, in a quick maybe 2 minutes, how did he get you from the bar when he said...
He wants to know this. He's just got so much hope inside that this could be the answer to all of his problems right now.
Clue me in. I need you. I'm Indiana Jones. You have the lost ark. Okay. Let me in.
So I guess we kind of left on a cliffhanger there. Like, he basically called me out. He was like, you're not touching me, so I feel like you're not really sexually attracted to me. And that was exactly the case. Like, I was trying hard to not, because that's what I teach, right? You touch to show that you're interested. So I was purposely not touching him. My body language was saying a lot, and he called me out. Like, you don't really, that's never happened to me before. So as soon as he said that, I was like, fuck. So... we end up, now here's the thing. I was talking about shitting where I eat earlier. This guy, met him on Tinder. He literally lived across the street from me in my old place, literally across the street. Like when me, when I'm swiping and it's midnight, clearly I'm not trying to go out. Right. So this guy, he's like, I'm like, yeah, so you live really close to me. Like, you want to come over or whatever, blah, blah. And he was like, well, wait a minute. Why don't we just go for a drink, up the street or whatever? So we end up, that's how I knew he lived across the street from me, because we ended up sharing an Uber to go to this place. Anyways, long story short, we end up taking an Uber back since we live across the street from each other.
Not to interrupt, but because I've heard this story on our podcast. So it was way more awkward than that. You went outside waiting for your Uber, and there was a guy across the street also waiting for an Uber, correct?
Yes, like he told me, hey, since you live like nearby, like why don't we just split an Uber or not split an Uber? Like why don't I just pick you up in my Uber? And I said, okay. So I go outside of my building when he text messages me to tell me, and I see him across the street getting in the car, and I'm like, you? And he's like, I live right there. I'm like, oh my God, I live right here. You live right there. I mean, I've banged my landlord before, so that's as close as it gets to fucking shitting me.
Ooh, yeah.
But so this was just like, okay, you're across the street, whatever. I can handle this. It's fine. So, after he calls me out when we're at the bar, we're like, oh, well, it's time to go. It was like last call, whatever. We get in it. We share an Uber. We go back home. It's starting to rain. I remember this specific detail. And it was funny because as soon as I got out of the Uber, I'm walking in the direction of my place. And and I'm like, okay, well, good night, bye. And he grabs me by my hand. He's like, no, wait, why don't you come do a shot of whiskey real quick? And then I'm like,
famous last words.
So then I end up going into his apartment. And at this point, honestly, I felt like I had to live up to some sort of like reputation to protect, So I was like, shit, he called me out. Now I have to prove something. You know what I mean? I mean, he was hot. It's just I wasn't connecting with him, like just because you're hot, I'm not going to like.
No, time out. I'm glad you said that, Annie. I'm glad you said that because I agree. Connection makes a difference. I don't care how hot you are. If I have no connection, what's the point?
No, the question is what was the connection then with this guy? You weren't physically attracted to him. It sounds like somewhat awkward. So what was the?
It's because he negged her, dude. It's because he gave her the super neg.
Was it don't tell me it was a fucking shot of whiskey.
No. So what ended up happening was I agreed to do the shot of whiskey. Right. I was like, fine, I'll go do a shot of whiskey. We'd been drinking, whatever. So I go into his apartment. And this was like a scene from a rom-com, dude. We're in the kitchen. We do the shot. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to walk out that door and be like, okay, good night, bye. I think he had like some liquid courage in him at this point because he just went for it. He starts making out with me. And next thing I know, we're making out and walking while our lips are locked down the hallway, knocking shit over, trying to take each other's clothes off. It's just like a scene from a rom-com. We're like making out, taking clothes off as we're walking up the hallway to his bedroom. Now, I have to admit, I was pleasantly surprised with, what he was packing. I was like, and I'm not a size queen by any means, but I was like, oh, okay. But then this was the best part. He was already kind of drunk at this point. So, we did the deed, and he kept trying to convince me to spend the night. He's older. He's like, oh, I'll make you breakfast. Like, you should stay. I live across the street. You know what I mean? So when in his drunken state, he was getting ready to pass out. I was like, I have to go walk my dog. And that was my excuse to leave. I was like, I have to go walk my dog. And then I just tiptoed my way out, went home. But the best part is I get home, and then I called some other dude to come over. To, help
Annie Cruz! Catch her weekly radio show on Sirius XM, The Dirtiest Girl in the World, every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern for stories like that. Her podcast, And Now We Drink, every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon on the West Coast. Annie, can I make you a little bit uncomfortable? Can I get you to feel a little awkward?
If that's even possible, sure.
Okay, I'm going to try. Now, Potts, we call this No Feelings Radio. You cannot offend me.
In fact, the goal is to cut you down and break you down as much as humanly possible, I think.
So here's the thing. I have a question, and I'm going somewhere with this. Potts, you have no idea where this is going. This just hit me. Annie, I appreciate you. I respect you. You're a dating coach. You're an actress. You're a podcaster like us. You're a cosplay gamer. We love you. Okay, you're welcome anytime. If you had to rate my attractiveness from a scale of 1 to 10, am I in a group 1 to 3, 4 to 7, or 7 to 10? 10 is the hottest.
7 to 10.
So I'm 7 to 10.
I'll call bullshit right there.
Woo!
Bullshit right there.
Now the reason Potts,
okay, if you look at my rap sheet.
No, there's a reason. Time out. There's a reason I'm asking this, Annie. Here's the thing.
Okay.
If I'm a 7 to 10, you're saying I'll even take that I'm a 4 to 7, but I am not a 1 to 3. Is that correct?
No, you're not a 1 to 3.
All right. So then why is this happening? We're going to go through my Tinder, and I'm going to swipe, and I will bet you whatever you want to put on the line, I will bet that I run out of swipes before I get a like.
Oh, my God.
So if I get a like before I run out of swipes, What can we do for you?
Can I be perfectly honest with you right now?
Yeah.
You look like a dude that I used to be.
Oh, things just got interesting.
I told you, man. Segment 3 is when we get after it.
Right,
so here's what I'm gonna do.
I have a question. How was he?
He was all right. He was all right.
Damn,
that's the same thing as actually saying.
That's about right. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Potts, what can we put on the line? If I run out of swipes, I win. If we get a match before I run out, you guys win. All right. Loser has to take a shot on the air.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm down, but I mean, if Miss Cruz is down, then I'm down.
All right.
I'm down.
All right, sweet. So if
I wasn't going to not be down, so.
So I'm going to swipe through, and if I run out, I don't know what I just said, but if I run out of swipes, I win. If I hit a match, you guys win. Deal?
So wait, you losing means you win. Essentially, is what you're saying. Is that
Kind of.
You losing the Tinder game means you win our game?
Yeah, but if you guys win, then so do I, because I got a match. So fuck it, let's go. Here we go. I'm gonna count as I go. So
and you're not having a shot. This is a horrible game for you, but I'll play it.
All right. So our listeners.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so that our listeners know, I'll count them as I'm literally just gonna swipe. So here we go. I guarantee I run out. Swipe. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20. I'm going.
How many swipes does it take before you run out?
Sweetie, look at this. This is, why am I getting this as a non-1 to 3? What is happening? I'm just swiping. Swipe. Nobody. I'm out. I ran out. I'm out.
Oh, man.
Maddie Potts, would you mind going to get the bottle of tequila for you two, please?
What's that? What are we doing?
Can you please get a bottle of tequila for you two, because I am your winner.
Okay, 1 second. Let me grab, because it's over by the counter we were just taking.
Fair enough. Now, why is that happening to me, Annie? Is it my profile? I'm going to send you my profile. I will pay you as my dating coach to tell me why the hell that's happening.
I actually do help people with their dating profiles. There's a lot of different things I do. We never really got to touch base on that. But like I said, a lot of my clientele, they all range from different age groups, walks of life. You know, I get guys that are like borderline virginal or virgins. And then I get guys that are like good looking. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You can have any girl you wanted. And it's because they're awkward. So it's like all the guys that I've worked with, they all have different issues, right?
Right.
And one of the things that I do offer is helping them become a master at online dating.
So, all right. So I'm going to send you my stuff, and then you can look at it.
Because here's the thing. Maybe this will give you a little bit of hope. This is a fact. No. Here's the fact. Here's the thing. Maybe there's something written in your profile that's just not appealing, because with men versus women care less, contrary to what a lot of people may believe, right? Looks don't matter as much to women as they do for men. Okay.
No, that's fair.
Like, a lot of women don't care too much about looks. So it's like, and everybody has their own fucking taste and flavor, right? So it's maybe you should just let me look at your profile and see what the hell is up. I can be like, yo, dude, this is what it is right here. Because girls like to read that shit. I mean, not me personally. I don't care. I'm just like swipe.
So my profile.
I'm like a dude. Anyways, moving on.
Yes. Oh, here we've got our shots right here. By the way,
take your shots. While you take your shots, I will read you what my thing says. It says, "Creative soul with a positive mindset." Smiley face. I don't care what your job is or how tall you are. Are you fun to talk to? ? Now they're taking shots. You listeners out there. Is that bad? I don't think that's that bad.
No, that's not bad at all. I mean, you're in Virginia?
Yeah, right by D.C., Northern Virginia. I should be slaying, Annie.
I don't know what the scene is like out there, man. You know, I'm in Hollywood, so it's like
we'll fly in.
A little different.
Yeah, we'll fly you in. All right, let's do this. Potts, are you ready for Ask Annie? We have like 5 minutes.
I'm ready. I got it. Yeah, I got a few questions for her. So.
All right, so let's do this. This is a new segment we like to call. She does this on her show. It's a weekly radio show on Sirius XM called The Dirtiest Girl in the World. Annie, what channel is it on?
415.
415 on Sirius XM. They play this. Do you play this game on Sirius or on your podcast with Ask Annie?
No, this is on my radio show, Sirius XM.
That's what we thought. So let's get to it. It is
Ask Annie.
Potts. fire away.
Who made the theme song for your podcast?
Oh, it's this band called As Earth Reclaims Us. Oh my God, did I get that wrong? I was like, no, it's called As Earth Reclaims Us. Yeah, As Earth it's really good. I love it.
Question 2. So one of your podcasts, you said you were about to go on a master cleanse. Did you do it, and how was it?
No, I did not do it.
I knew it.
Cayenne pepper, baby.
I took that note. I go, I am going to ask her this, and I know it's going to be a fail. I know it. Question 3. You used to be big into weightlifting. What's your diet like now? Why did you get out of it, or did you get out of it? If so, why? And like, what's your diet like now? What do you try to do to stay healthy?
So I kind of fell off the wagon for a hot minute because I just got promoted at work and I've been working a lot. That's not an excuse, but I still do have I built a squat rack in my old living room, so I still have all my weights and stuff. And I just recently started getting back into doing that. So as far as like my diet goes, I've been eating like shit. But I finally started meal prepping again. So now I'm kind of back on track with like eating healthy and lifting weights, man, because that's kind of like, that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that.
Potts, I have one for her. Annie, we know you're a gamer. What's the one game that you could beat me at? And are you by chance best in the world at any of these games?
Oh man, that's a tough one because I'm really good at I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm really good at the Arkham Knight games, the Batman games.
Gotham, Dark Knight was good. That was good. I really do love Resident Evil. That's my favorite series. But I'm also really good at Call of Duty. I have a clan of girls that I play with online, and we'll go on multiplayer, and there'll be like 6 of us versus a bunch of randos, and we'll beat the shit out of them. So I could probably whip your ass at Call of Duty. So badass. Do you have a gamer tag you want to let out, or do you want to keep that private?
It's Annie Cruz. I get a lot of people that'll, when they see my name, they're like, wait a minute, this can't be the same Annie Cruz. I'm like, yes, it is, bitch. I'll get on my mic, and I'm like, yes, it is.
That a girl.
Favorite Filipino
Was that Leroy Jenkins? Was that Leroy?
That was the little sound drop from the guy that when
Leroy Jenkins,
and the guy went in and like committed suicide. And
dude, it was the funniest thing. No, they're playing one of those games.
It was the best thing.
It's so funny.
You know the Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, she doesn't know this?
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I'll pull it up for you on YouTube. So they're playing like online, and they're all like, okay, like you're gonna go in on left flank and right flank, and this guy just goes, Leroy! And he runs into the room and just starts killing everyone, and he gets his whole team killed. And you've got all these like 12-year-olds like, hey man, what are you doing? Fuck you, dude.
Goddamn Leroy!
Oh my God.
So listen, Annie, next time you're playing Call of Duty, I need you to just drop Leroy Jenkins and see what happens.
I'm gonna have to do that now.
That's fantastic. Potts, you got another one for her?
So wait, yeah. So you said you what's your favorite? You are Filipino, so what's your favorite Filipino dish to make?
Pancit or sinigang, which is like a soup. Pancit is like Filipino noodles, and then of course lumpia.
I got one for her. Can I ask if you ever went to a cosplay battle or game, did you ever do you dress there, or do you have a quick story of being in your costume, stopping for gas, and having people looking at you like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh yeah, I went to I was dressed up as Catwoman. Like Jim Lee version. He's one of my favorite comic book artists. Dressed up like full blown in like, I was in Las Vegas at a convention, and it was like hot as fuck. I'm dressed up in all black cat suit with the mask and the goggles and everything, and I was just pumping gas at the gas station. Everybody's looking at me like, there's a cat lady like over here pumping gas.
That's awesome.
It was great.
I can just picture it in my head. Potts, you have one more for her before we surprise ending?
This was actually a question I had for you, to be honest, Luch. But,
for me?
Have you ever walked in on... Yeah. Why don't we get both of your answers? Have you ever walked in on your parents having sex?
No,
Thank
moving
God,
on.
No.
Yeah. No, they were amazing about not having that happen. So, all right. That's fine. I love it. Nicely done. Thank you, Annie. I appreciate you being here. Before we let you go and get out on some fun, do you have anything you want to tell our listeners? Anything you want to get across to the people before we let you go?
Yeah, guys, make sure you check out my my radio show on Sirius XM 415, and then of course my podcast, And Now We Drink. You can also find me at anniecruz.com, and contrary to popular belief, that is safe for work.
Don't forget to go on my new little Instagram, Cocktail Convos.
Yeah, can you
pretty funny. People
preview
really
that?
enjoy it. They're real life conversations that I have had with cocktail servers that worked for me over the last 15 years. They're just kind of short and sweet little blurbs, things that I literally could not make up. And I know, Cruz, you were saying you have something you did called Cruz Conversations at some point too. What was that about?
Oh yeah, so like any Tinder conversations, Bumble conversations with people that I've had sex with, funny conversations with people in general. Hashtag Cruz Conversations. It became a thing, and I'm thinking about making like I'm actually writing a book, and I'm thinking about implementing some of these Cruz conversations in it.
Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Annie Cruz, thank you for hanging out. We appreciate your time. You're always welcome back. Will you come back and see us another time?
Anytime you guys want me.
You're the best. Thanks, Annie. Maddie
That's
Potts.
all I've got. This is Maddie Potts. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and you can kindly go fuck yourself.
There they go from the West Coast studio. Guys, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on Friday. Remember, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Go check it out on YouTube with the new channel, LITM Podcast. We will see you guys on Friday. It is Lucdogg in the morning.